All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about importing lyrics and media into ProPresenter and setting up ProPresenter for weekend gatherings at the Journey. So let's get into it. I have ProPresenter pulled up here, and we have our Middletown location playlist. We use the same playlist every week, and we change the playlist items in it to update it for the current weekend. So all of these things here will stay the same except for the worship songs. So the first thing we're going to do on this playlist is highlight the worship songs from last week, delete those, and let's start by importing our songs for this week. So we're going to go up to the top bar, up to File, Import. We're going to import File. It's going to take us to our Finder on the Mac. We can go Dropbox, All Campus Files, Middletown, Production, and Lyrics. Let's sort this by name so it's a little cleaner. All Campus Files, Middletown, Production, Lyrics. Because this is a cloud location, Dropbox, sometimes you may see this little cloud icon next to the folder or next to the file that you want to access. You can just click it to download the file to this computer so that you can import it. So lyrics, we're working on June 29th in this video. I'm going to select June 29th, worship, and we're going to import that. Now, this notification is going to come up almost every time, and it's going to say the file already exists. This is because we have done one or more of these songs before. You'll probably get this notification every week unless you have a week where it's all new songs, which is almost never. So we've done one or more of these songs before that we're importing. So the file is already in our library, our Middletown library, but the file that exists in our library may not be the most up-to-date. Sometimes we may add a chorus or change the arrangement slightly. So what we're going to do is we're going to write over all of these files. And before we do that, we're going to hit Apply to All so that we don't have to click right over a bunch of times. We're going to do Apply to All and click Write Over. And this is going to overwrite any songs that already exist in the library with the most current up-to-date arrangement that we're doing this week. This is a very important step. If you do use existing, you may use an arrangement that is out of date that we are not doing this week, and we don't want to do new version because it's going to clog up our library with a bunch of duplicate arrangements and files. It's going to be really hard to find things eventually. So we want to do Apply to All and write over. We're going to overwrite these songs that are already in our library and import new versions of the songs. We write over, and that will import the lyrics and song backgrounds into this new playlist here, June 29th. And once we have that imported, we're going to select these songs and we're going to drag them to our Middletown playlist. Drag them up like that. And then pull them under worship songs. So again, all these other items will mostly stay the same week to week, except for the worship songs. So once we have those songs, what we're going to do is check to make sure that they're the correct songs. We can do that by referencing Planning Center. So we pull up Planning Center. Won't Stop Now, Firm Foundation, Been So Good. Won't Stop Now, Firm Foundation, Been So Good. Verify that they have a song background. And we're going to apply the theme to them all. So we're going to do Command A to highlight themes. And we're going to most often use this one, Journey Approved Full Screen and Standard. Sometimes they may already come imported with the theme already applied, but we should do it just to make sure it's done for every song. We're gonna do that. We're gonna go to the second song. Highlight them all. Themes. Standard. Highlight them all. Themes. Already approved full screen. Standard. So once we have the themes applied, we can go and just preview. See what it looks like. So I said almost always use standard, but sometimes we may use a different theme if we have a situation like this. So we have the graphic and the text is a little bit washed out by the graphic. So in order to fix that, we're going to highlight them all again, go to themes, and we're going to choose one of these two. Black bars will put a black bar behind the lyrics, and the white bars will put a white bar behind the lyrics. Most often I'll use just the black bars. I'm going to add that. And now let's preview it again. There we go. Now the lyrics are not washed out. So most oftentimes you'll use standard, but then just check the lyrics to make sure that they stand out from the background. And if they don't, you can use one of those other two themes. Let's go to our other songs. Check to make sure that one looks good. Third song. This one's kind of the same thing. It's a little washed out by the graphic. We're going to highlight all the slides, go to themes, and choose black bars again. Or white bars, whatever looks best. Black bars, I think, looks best. So now that we have all of our songs with the correct theme, and we can verify that we can see our lyrics, we're going to add macros to all of our songs. So we can go down to the bottom right here. See this M. This is the macro window. And basically a macro is a combination of a bunch of different actions combined into one macro so that we don't have to do each action individually. And we can store it here to reference again later. So let's go to our macro window, and there's a macro here called Worship Songs. We're going to drag that onto the first slide of every song. And this macro is going to tell the projector to look one way and our confidence monitor with lyrics to look another way. We're going to add that on the first song, go to the second song, add it on the first slide. And the third song, add that to the first slide. So make sure we add that Worship Songs macro to the first slide of every song. And then we're going to go to our timers window. And we're going to add the worship timer to only the first slide of the first song. This is just a general 18-minute timer that lets the worship team know about how long they have for worship. And we're only going to add that onto the first song because once this slide is triggered, it's going to start the timer. If we add it again, it will re-trigger the timer. So we only want it on that first slide. It's going to run through all three songs, that timer. All right, so once we have our macros and our timer set for worship, we're going to move on to media. So like I said, most of these things will stay the same week to week, but we should double check Planning Center to make sure that we have slides for all of our location moments, welcome, giving talk, and close. Let's go to welcome. We're going to look at Planning Center. We have welcome and connect card. There's our connect card there. Series graphic, just in case it's referenced. I usually will add it into welcome and close. And then we have our red bumper screens. We can delete any slides that we don't need for this weekend in here. And next, let's go to our giving talk. which is just a giving talk. So we have our 3 ways to give slide, and this is a video for the giving app that we may use or may not use, but these are all the slides relevant to this section of the gathering with our red bumper screens there. Again, we can delete anything that is not relevant to this week's gathering. And then let's go down to close. We have First Time Faith, Connect Card, and JLI Evening Program. Let's go to close. We have First Time Faith. Again, the series graphic, just in case it's referenced. We do not have JLI. So let's import that new graphic. We're going to go up to the top bar again, File, Import. This time we're going to do Media when we import a slide graphic. And we're going to go to Dropbox again. There's a folder called Media. And then in here we have folders for every week gathering. So we're going to go to the date that we're looking at for this playlist, which is June 29th. And it's going to be this folder right here that says full slides. And then in here is going to be all of our slides that we need for the weekend. Some of these we already have, so we don't need to import them again. But what I like to do is sort by date added. And you can see we have something new, which is the JLI graphic. So JLI graphic, there it is. And we're going to hit import. And we're going to import this to this playlist called slides. This is just a general catch-all for the media that we import. And then once we confirm it's imported, we're going to go to up here at top right, it says media. And we can see that playlist down here that says slides. Can't see it because of my camera, but slides right there. And there is the JLI slide. So once we have that, we're going to put it in close. And I'm going to drag it up there. Right there. So now we have First Time Faith, Connect Card, and then graphic for JLI. We can close the media there. Now for any of our media, we don't need to add macros because the macros are already on the first slide that we always go to, this red welcome screen. So as long as that's the first slide that the ProPresenter operator goes to, it's going to add the macro. But we do need to check our timers because those can change from week to week for these sections. So for welcome, we have 1 minute. So we go to our welcome timer. Right now it's set for 2 minutes. So we can hit this little caret here and change it from 2 minutes to 1 minute. And then once we have the correct time that we want, we can drag it onto the first slide there. And now that timer will trigger when we hit that slide. For a giving talk, we have 2 minutes. Giving talk in our timers window. Right there, we can drag that over. We can also update the message timer. So this we want to click on when we switch to our Resi feed so that we can see production and everyone else can kind of see how long we have. We can also see it on stage, how long the message is going and a general time. So we want to update this timer because the message time can change from week to week. And we have message 32 minutes. And the message timer right now is set to 30 minutes. Let me change that to 32 minutes. And because I clicked on that slide, the timer started going. You can stop and go back to the beginning. to see how long the actual timer is. So message timer is 32 minutes. I'm going to drag that onto this blank slide for message. And close is 1:30. So our close timer right now, it's set for a minute, so I'm going to change it to 1:30. Oops. $1:30, and we can drag that to close. Cool. So we have macros and timers for all our media and for our lyrics. We could also run through and just make sure that the rotating slides are up to date with anything else in that media folder at walkout and walk in. And that is it. You're done. You're set up for the weekend in ProPresenter.